I'm going to talk to you about something that I think goes kind of like, that isn't talked about really at all. And the thing is failure. Sorry if you hear stuff in the back, but yeah, the thing is failure. And I think it's like something that doesn't happen to you, but you, excuse me, that was bad, but it's something that you choose, you know? So I think failure can be a good thing and a bad thing, obviously. But the reason I think it can be good is because if you don't let it happen to you, if you choose it. So what I'm trying to say is, say you're trying to do a lot of something and you do too much of it and then you fail, right? I think that's a good thing, because then you're learning your limits and you are like figuring out your limit and your breaking point and how good you are. So if you don't ever push that hard, you know, you'll never know how much talent you have, right? And I think that's a huge waste, because as a man, I'm not a man obviously, but as a man you should always try to be your best. And I think that failure is something that we kind of like don't talk about or just sweep under the carpet, you know what I mean? Something that just doesn't get talked about. And I wrote a few things down about it that I wanted to talk about. So the first thing is that you learn a lot from failure. So like I said, you learn your limits, your breaking point, how much you can do something, and if you're good at it or not, right? Success tells you a couple of things, like that you're good at it, that, I mean, I don't know, how you do it and stuff like that, right? Another quick thing that I wrote down was that it builds character. So what I mean by that is that it, excuse me, it builds character probably more than success does, if I would say so myself, because if you fail, it kind of does more to your mental than succeeding does, right? So I think that failure builds more character than succeeding does, and that failure sometimes can be better for you than succeeding. And the last thing I wrote down is that it's humbling, right? Because say you just get fired from a job, that's humbling and that sucks, but now you know, right? You have learned from this. And I think failure, let's just talk about in the gym for a second. Like, if you're going to failure, you're like achieving it, right? You're achieving your breaking point, and you're doing it as hard as you physically can, and just, you're probably not doing total failure because your brain doesn't let you, but like, you know what I mean, right? It's a really good way of lifting, because it really gets everything out of you, right? Pause. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think failure is something that should be talked about more, accepted more, and that it's more of a good thing than people think it is, really. So always remember that the hardest part is the start. See ya.